Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Tuesday evening. I'm super excited because tonight we are celebrating the second debt that I have paid off on my debt free journey. And before I get into all of the things that I wrote down that I do want to chat with you guys about, I just first want to say thank you to every single human being in this community. You guys have been nothing short of amazing. I appreciate you. Like, your support has blown my entire mind and totally and completely made it possible for me to be able to um pay off this debt. Like, I'm so like blown away. Like, it's official, it has happened. We have a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm going to try to be as non-emotional as possible so that we can like get through the conversation, but the way that we normally do. So like, this can be live, but I know that there may be a ton of questions that come up. I will answer a few questions here, but if it gets to be long, like, I'll definitely pop out and pop back on and answer questions inside of like a separate stream. So for those of you guys who are just joining and you do not know, I paid off my second debt, which has been the debt that has been like bothering me the most out of all of my debt. Like, this is the debt with the deepest emotional like pull and intensity and just overwhelm, etc. And that is my City Girl debt, which is a business debt. I had launched a conference in 2016, canceled it closer towards the end because I felt myself going in a significant amount of debt, and it has been there since 2016. So this is actually a 2-year-old debt, and it is now paid off, and I'm super excited. And so I do want to toast to this debt, but I feel like in toasting, the tone of the today might go a little bit different. So I just want to take just a little bit more time to just like revel in the fact that this debt is gone. $5,748.30 is paid in full, and you guys don't ever have to hear me say City Girl in a don't ever have to hear me say City Girl in a Budget with Me live again, outside of just acknowledging the fact that I just no longer have it. And I am so super stoked about it. In general, like, I feel incredible. Like, a huge weight has been lifted off of me. And it just really feels like this snowball is like truly like super duper rolling. Like, it's super duper rolling. So I do want to make a toast. And so tonight I am actually toasting with not wine or champagne. And I wanted to mention that because I know that one of the subscribers sent me a wine opener specifically for this occasion, because you knew that another debt payoff was coming. But I cannot drink wine this evening. I am actually drinking water with aloe vera leaf juice in it. And that is because recently I found out that I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about this, but it is related to this journey. So I'm going to talk about it, but I want you to know I don't want to talk about it. So I recently found out that I have a bleeding ulcer, and I believe that this ulcer has something to do with the way that I'm carrying the stress, not just of the debt-free journey, but primarily carrying the stress of the recent success that I've been experiencing. And so one of the reasons why I didn't want to celebrate yet is because I didn't want to have to share that with you all. But what I realized over the last couple of days is if I keep that from you all, then there's a part of this journey that won't be like as transparent and as authentic as it has been. So even though this isn't wine or champagne, it is still something that I want to celebrate, and I still want to drink it out of my wine glass. It's not amazing tasting, so I'm going to drink it out of this straw too, to make it a little bit more festive, and so we'll toast and then I'll come back to having a little bit more of the conversation about it. So everyone who has their glasses of whatever ready, please raise a glass not only to just this celebration of this accomplishment of paying off my second debt, but also like raise a glass to yourself for you showing up as like an amazing, super fantastic, excellent part of a community that is at least helping one woman meet her goal of becoming debt free. So cheers to you guys. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Absolutely. I have to toast with you guys because there's massive parts of this that just could not happen without you. So I did come with a little bit of notes of a couple of things to talk about. So I wanted to talk about how long it took me to pay off the debt. I wanted to talk about sort of the emotions and the triggers and the lessons that I've learned. And then if you guys want to talk a little bit more about the bleeding ulcer and whatnot, we can talk about that. I may save it for another video, but who knows. So first things first, the amount that I paid off was $5,748.30. It took me 15 months to pay that off from the start of this journey, 15 months. And the primary emotion that I had with this debt is like guilt. Like I felt so guilty. And you guys know like the emotion of guilt is when you feel like you've done something bad. And I think, and I talked about this in a couple of the videos, I think the reason why I felt so guilty is because I actually know the person who this debt belongs to, and every month when I didn't pay it, like I just felt so bad. But how do I feel now having paid it? I feel not necessarily relieved of that guilt, but I feel like I have, it's almost like I have now like a different level of like get up and go that I can go after everything else. I feel like you know how like when something is out of alignment, it's like you can still do it, but if you're not in alignment, like you're doing it in a weird place. So I think the feeling that I have now is just like it's alignment and relief, and like, and not so much relief that I don't feel like I need to be gazelle intense about everything else, but I feel like a releasing of guilt, sort of in the way that I released the emotions from before. Like I feel like there's a releasing of guilt, and in me releasing that guilt, it's freed up the like emotional and creative and mental space to go after my other debts. So overall, like realizing that like of all of the debts that I had, this is the debt that I felt guilty about, and this was the debt that was making me feel like a air quotes bad person. I'm super like grateful to be in a position to like say, all right, you are not a bad person, and you're not going to pay this off to prove that you're not a bad person. You're going to pay this off because this is the right thing for you to do, because this is what you've been wanting to do. So those are the emotions that were around it. I will tell you the trigger that made me pay this off before the IRS, because you guys know I'm a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and in his plan, he tells you to prioritize the IRS bill. And I will tell you the thing that made me be like, I'm going to do this the way that I want to do this, is when I got the medical bill, the additional medical bill in the mail, I was just like, I cannot not pay this person. Like it has been 2 years since this person as a small business owner has been waiting on this, and that doesn't justify it, but like I know what it means to be a business owner and to need people to pay their invoices. And I couldn't imagine if somebody owed me personally $5,748 for 2 years. Like I just couldn't imagine it. And so when I got the medical bill, like it just made me feel like I was never going to get in front of this debt. And I was like, I have to prioritize her. Like I have to, like I'm going to honor this medical debt, but I have to prioritize this. So I would say that that was the big trigger, because I was kind of on board. Even as we slid into January, like I was feeling bad about it, but I was still on board with like, I'm gonna pay the IRS. But then when I got that medical bill, I was like, I cannot put another bill in front of this. I cannot do it. And so I think that's a little bit of where the mixed feelings came from too, is because it's just like, I know that I'm not doing this in the order for the program that I'm following, and that frightened me a little bit because I'm like, oh, you know, I'm forfeiting the results and the promise that he's offering. And, you know, over the last couple of days and the last couple of videos and all the comments in the community, I was really just able to address it. It's just like, no, Stacey, you're not forfeiting the promises or the results. You're not doing any of those things. You made a decision, and you made the decision, and now you have one debt paid off. Like, it's not like you put more money on City Girl and it's still there. It's like, no, you got rid of it. Like, that's the whole point of all this, is to get rid of it. So you need to find the space to be able to celebrate that. And so I have, and I'm super, super excited about it. That was the reason why it was prioritized over the IRS, is because I received yet another bill that was gonna go in front of it, and I just was like, I cannot do this to her as a human being, this person as a company. And I think too, the other thing that was really jarring as well is, like, my income last month was $6,000 and my income this month was $6,000, and I was like, you know, in 2 months I've made $6,000 and I haven't been able to pay off this bill. There's something about that that's not okay. And I need to, like, I don't want to let $12,000 net flow through my hands and I'm not paying off a human being that, like, I personally know and have their number in my phone, and, like, I know that they're a business owner and I know that they provided me with great quality work. Like, I just was like, I can't do it anymore. So that is the reason why it was prioritized. That is how I feel. Like, there's a massive, huge weight lifted. I feel energy and enthusiasm and power moving forward towards the other debts. And I'm really looking forward to just, like, taking care of that debt, or taking care of the rest of my debts. I would say that the biggest lesson that I learned from paying City Girl is that, like, because every debt feels different, right? Like, but the biggest lesson that I learned from that is that, like, I really, 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 for real, don't like debt. Like, as much as I thought that, like, my debt threshold, and maybe it still is, we don't know, well, when I get into my student loans, as much as my debt threshold I thought was, like, around 150,000, it's like, I don't think that that's my debt threshold. I think that that's just how I've made it okay to hold my student loans at that rate, because that's just what they've been. But truthfully, like, this $5,000 debt felt heavier than the 150 there. So I think out of this, I learned that, like, debts have different emotions, and because they have different emotions, like, how we attack them is going to be different unless we acknowledge the emotion and then think of the action that we want to do, right? Like, I would love to be able to say, like, I was strong enough to, like, remove the emotion. I wasn't, like, but I think that it's important. Like, I guess what I learned is that, like, some emotion, it's important that you feel it, because it's like, it's trying to tell you something. Like, it's trying to tell you, hey, you're taking too long to do this. Like, this is unacceptable. And I think all of the emotions that I had around City Girl were telling me, like, hey, you're taking too long to do this. Like, you need to hurry up and get this done. So I think that that's the biggest lesson, is that different debts have different emotions. And rather than being upset about having the emotions, like, examine the emotion to figure out what it's trying to communicate to me. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about, because I do think that it's going to affect the rest of my debt snowball and the rest of my celebration, is, you know, this bleeding ulcer situation. You guys know that I have my own company. You know that my income this month is $9,000. My income last month was $6,000. So you guys can see the upward trajectory of, like, my success. And you guys also know that that is necessary for me to be able to pay off this nearly $200,000 that I have in debt. What I am experiencing is the overwhelming feeling that comes with facing your fear. Like, my deepest, darkest fear is the fear of success. And it's something that, like, clearly needs to be addressed. And I think that what happened in the last month, as I begun to experience my income increase and I begun to see the light at the end of the tunnel and the possibility of me being able to aggressively get out of my debt, I think that I started to stress and I started to worry in a way that was really, really unhealthy. And I didn't really have like a way to release that, because I think that, oh man, I'm already getting emotional. Wasn't my intent to get emotional. I think that the thing, man, I think that the thing that frightens me the most is that, like, you know, I think sometimes when people see you being successful and they hear, oh, I work part time, like, they assume that that means that it's like easy and there's no challenge and there's no difficulty. Or people will say things like, you make too much money now, so you're not relatable. And while I understand, like, intellectually, like, what you mean when you say that, I think the thing that frightens me the most is that, like, I'm not going to be able to relate and I'm not going to be able to connect, and that in order for me to have a, like, in order for me, because, like, when I say that I need this accountability, I don't mean that lightly. And there is this very real fear that, like, as the success progresses, the community is gonna feel, they're gonna be like, well, you don't need us anymore because you're making all this money. And it's like, that's not how success works. Like, at least for me, like, that's not how it works. And I think that there's something that feels incredibly isolating about winning. There's something that feels incredibly isolating about doing what you said you were going to do. And whether people mean it maliciously or not, it's like, it's hard to, like, run a company and be a mom and fully face this mountain, right? Like, in 2018, I was facing the mountain, but I was facing it from the perspective of restoring my financial dignity. Like, in 2019, like, I want to take in the scope. Like, I want to get rid of this debt, but I don't know how to explain it, that, like, even though I'm winning and even though the money is coming in, that doesn't mean that it's not hard. And I'm not saying, like, it feels weird to, like, to have sadness around winning, but the sadness is, like, the fear of losing support and the fear of losing, like, compassion, like, the fear of, like, when you don't have much and you make a mistake, people are a little bit kinder. But when you have more and you make a mistake, it's like people are ruthless. And it's just like, I'm still the same person. I just have $10,000 in my account, and I don't want, like, I can't control, like, how people think and what people feel about that. But, like, there's something that's so scary to me about that. But what I realized in going on this journey is that, like, while that's scary, like, it's scary to feel like I might lose accountability and I might lose community and I might lose relatability. While it's scary to think about that, it frightens me more to be where I was a year ago. It frightens me more that, like, my kid is going to be in college in 2 years and I may not be in position to support him because I want this. And so when I think about, like, what type of stress I must have been experiencing to, like, create this ulcer, right? Because this ulcer, like, came out of, like, just within the last couple of months. It's the tension between those two spaces. It's the tension that says, like, you guys, I can't stay in debt longer because it makes you comfortable. Like, I can't work full time because it sounds better to say that I earned $9,000 working full time. I cannot meet your expectations of being relatable. I cannot do that and conquer this. And I know that not all of you guys are asking me that, like, and I think that this is mostly just my issue, but I'm expressing it now because, like, I need to heal this ulcer. and I'm not going to stop going after what I want. And I think when we don't pay off debt, when we don't do the right thing that's right by us, like on some level, we are all dealing with this. And it's just like, I will not slow myself down because it is uncomfortable for you. I will not apologize for making, and I'm not saying that you guys are, these are just things that I need to say out loud now, because as it's happening, like it's happening quickly for me, so I can only imagine what it feels like for some of you guys. But like, I will not slow down. I will not apologize or explain the exponential growth that's gonna happen to my income. And I'm asking you now to decide now whether or not you are in this journey to see me complete it, or you're in this journey to see me struggle, because the struggle is going to look different in 2019, right? Like, and I don't have the capacity right now because I'm dealing with it on my own, right? Like I'm dealing with it on my own. I don't have the capacity to reach for where I'm going and try to hold on to it being comfortable for you guys. And I know that this is a weird way to celebrate, but it's just like, the only way to celebrate this is to acknowledge the obvious thing that's happening, which is I am overwhelmed by my ability to be able to pay off this debt. I am very overwhelmed. And I'm going to do it anyway. But I want you to hear me now when I say that, like, just because it looks easy and just because it seems remarkable to you that, like, I am living this and trying to do this and trying to wrap this stuff around my mind too. So let your choice in following me on this journey be about following me on this journey and holding me accountable to this journey, and not something else, because I'm telling you right now, I don't have the capacity for it. What I'm not going to do is maintain a bleeding ulcer throughout the rest of this journey, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sacrifice my health because that, for me, that's just when as I'm experiencing that, I'm like, that's just a form of self-sabotage. I'm trying to sabotage myself so that I can slow down a little bit, and I'm trying to slow down because it's overwhelming for me, but I know that it's also overwhelming for the audience, and I don't know if this is what you guys signed up for. And it's just like, none of you guys are putting pressure on me to do that. That's just what's happening. That is the nature of shifting your mindset. That is the nature of, like, wrapping your mind around making $10,000 a month when just last year I was making $800 a month. That is the nature of accepting that my company is profitable, that I rebuilt this thing and I did it exactly the way that I wanted to do it. Like, these are the feelings that are there. And one of the reasons I didn't want to celebrate is because I know the tears don't seem like it's a celebration, but it's just like, this is where I'm at right now. Like, it's not fear. I don't know what the other emotion is, but I need you guys to understand that the emotions are not all good emotions. And because a lot of people perceive growth as 100% good. It's like, that's not how this works. If that's how it worked, we would all be as successful as we want to be. We would all be physically in the shape that we want to be. We would all be, like, exceptional. And there's a reason we're all not exceptional, because it is hard to go from being where everyone else is to being somewhere else. Like, that's just a hard transition. And I'm telling you right now, like, I'm going for that, and I can't apologize along the way, and I cannot promise that like I'll be able to explain it or that I'm gonna do everything right. But what I can promise you is that I'm gonna finish this journey, and if you're not here for the journey, just don't show up, because I cannot handle that right now. You know, like I can't. I can't handle it right now. And yeah, I wasn't planning on being this emotional, but this just is what it is. Like, this is just a celebration. And I think sometimes in order for us to celebrate the depths of like what's really happening, like getting rid of City Girl, like getting rid of like that 5,000, like that's a big freaking deal. Like, and doing that within a relatively short window, that's a big freaking deal. And my best guess is as I drop the rest of these debts, the emotional burden of these debts are gonna fade away, and I need space to respond to that emotionally. And you guys gotta remember, like, you're watching me live this. You're not living it. And I need, like, I need the accountability. And I can handle the good and the bad, but I cannot handle the absolutely ridiculousness that comes from you not thinking about your stuff before you're projecting that onto me. Like, before I could handle your projections, because that was a level that I was comfortable with. This is a different level that I am not comfortable with. And I like engaging, I like the dialogue, but it's like, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, like, it may just be that I have to put a pause on like responding to things, because it's so much, you know, it's so much. But I'm telling you guys right now, like, I can't stop. Like, when I was sharing my sick and tired moment, like, I am tired of not being myself. And this debt makes it really hard for me to not be myself. And so I'm going to do what it takes to finish. And you guys got to start now. Wrap your mind around the fact that that means I'm going to have some months where I'm making a crap ton of money. And as shocking as it is for you, it's going to be shocking for me. So what I don't need is your Weirdy McWeird pantsness about it. It's Weirdy McWeird pants for me already. I don't need your additional Weirdy McWeird pants. So don't do that to me. And I get that the new people will be different. So I'm not necessarily talking to the new people so much as I'm talking to my oldie but goodies. I believe that you guys are genuinely here. But I think that's, you know, I'm aware that like my journey is a reflection of different things. And so it brings up stuff. But I think that these tears are just an expression of, I need y'all to know that, like, you think you're freaking out in your head. Imagine doing it. Like, imagine rebuilding your company and making $9,000, like, part-time. Like, I'm very happy about that. But I'm also very overwhelmed. So, there's that. And I really wanted to wait to celebrate this, but I think it's just important that we acknowledge the truth about how emotional money is, because it's not just the debt that's emotional. No, the money itself, the income itself, the what it takes to, like, and I think that that's sort of the thing that surprises me the most. It's just like, you guys, if I'm in $200,000 worth of debt, I at least have to make that amount. So you can't keep acting all surprised when I make a bunch of money. I mean, you can, because I'm surprised too, but like, just be kind when you're surprised, okay? Just be a little bit kinder. You know, you don't have to. I'm just asking you to, because I want these moments of celebration to be just that, moments of celebration. And, you know, yeah, this is where I'm at right now. So cheers to the celebration. Now I'm going to look at some of your questions and whatnot. But yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that. I wanted to acknowledge the emotional side of like earning. And I right at this point, I don't feel the feelings of like putting all the money towards debt. I know a lot of people have like emotional releases because they're like dumping so much on debt. Like that's not the thing that's overwhelming me. The thing that's overwhelming me is this exponential growth and um, you know, me managing that. Like, when I in my sick and tired moment where I talked about how like I'm sick and tired of not being myself, getting that level of sick and not being able to produce and not having anything to show for all of the work that I put in. It's just like I will never return there. I'm going to this place, and in order for me to get there, there's going to be some things that I'm going to do and earn and etc. that may shock you. I'm telling you now because I just want to prepare us as a community and to offer you the information that you may need so that if you're here to help me be accountable, which is one of the reasons I asked you to be here, that you have the information that you need to actually be that for me, right? um to actually be that for me. And if I put on a facade like everything is fine and it's all like I'm so excited, just more money, and I'm not dealing with any sort of cognitive dissonance, that would be foolish. Like what you guys are witnessing is the full expression of my cognitive dissonance as it relates to me being this successful, building my company the exact way that I've always dreamed. So it's not just the intent and the hope and the aspiration of paying off my debt, it's also fulfilling the dream of creating a company that runs this way. And so it's just like I appreciate you guys, and I know that so much of this couldn't have happened had this community not shown up and been incredibly amazing. And I fully aim and hope and expect that that's what's going to maintain. But I know people get weird when there's more zeros on the table. And I know people get weird because I'm being weird, right? Like, so I can't be upset that you're being weird. I'm just saying it's harder for me to deal and process because I'm also working through my own cognitive dissonance. So I just want you guys to know that so that we continue to work as we continue to exist together as a community. So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I want to answer some of your questions and your comments. Cheers again to paying off City Girl. $5,748.30 gone. Gone. So now I'm going to go up and I'm going to look at some of your comments here. And I'll stay in this one for about 15 minutes, then I'll pop out and bring up another Q&A if there is a Q&A. So any questions about paying off this debt, any of the things that I shared or expressed, feel free to ask. Okay. Yeah, you always give great advice. You motivate me. Yeah, also, guys, if there's anybody that's on this journey and you guys are like, man, Stacey seems to have it all together. No, I just don't record everything that's not together. And this bleeding ulcer is evidence of me not actually processing the measure of stress and overwhelm that I'm going through very well. And I've taken steps to do better in that because this ulcer will be healed before the end of this month. But, no, I don't have it all together, like in any way, shape, or form. Like this is very much a journey for me. Yeah, money mindset. Yeah, definitely money mindset. Like, and that's what I meant when I was talking about the money mindset manual. Like the manual, the people that I created that for, it's like I did that at that moment because I wanted to make sure that everything that I learned from first steps to here was poured into a resource that could support you, and now I'm this, next step over here. And it's just a different paradigm. It's a different level of skill and learning that's required. So Lacoste, we want to be here to the end and beyond because you are authentic and we're real. Sorry. Black butterfly, I get what she's saying. I deleted a comment I made because I was hating, or at least I felt like I was. YL, I appreciate that, black butterfly. And that's all I'm saying is just, if you are ride or die, been here from the beginning, like, we've been together for nearly a year. So you guys thought maybe I was tender before, and I was, but that tenderness was related to like healing from something completely unrelated to this journey. The new level of tenderness is completely related to this journey, and I'm trying, like, I'm trying to step into it, but like, growth is not easy. So I appreciate you doing that. And I guess that's my request, is just make sure that when you're commenting for accountability, that it is about me and it's not your projection of me, of something, right? Say what you want to say, but if you're commenting because it is for me, then I'm just asking you to just think it through a little bit, and because know that I'm way more tender now than I've ever been this entire journey. AD Adams, I'm with you through and through. I just started recently watching you and amazed by you. Your success makes me believe it's possible. House of Halima, I completely get it. Live in truth. We cannot stay in a place where people are comfortable. It will kill you. Yeah. Sherry said it doesn't look easy, Stacey. Okay. KG6559, I think people are just concerned based off your recent decisions on how to spend money with your income increase. We're trying to hold you accountable to this journey. Yeah, and that part, I can see that. Like, I definitely can see that. That's the reason I was going back and forth on the second to last video, and then I put up that comment. I was like, oh, I'm just really feeling guilty about prioritizing City Girl over IRS. I don't actually have a problem with you guys' comments, but I was able to see that I was way more emotional in that. So that's different. I feel like most people were holding me accountable, but there are a couple of people who are just like, being very mean, that didn't have anything to do with accountability. It was just an issue with the income growth, and stuff like that. I paid off my credit card last week, $387. Congratulations, Connie Lee. Let's all cheers to Connie Lee. Mini Wealthy Camping Girl, I feel like you're giving people watching you on this journey too much power. The tears are not about them. The tears are not, that's just my experience. Whether they were on this journey with me or not, I still would have I'm having all of these emotions. Like, I don't have a bleeding ulcer because of what you guys have been saying. I have a bleeding ulcer because I'm trying to go from where I was to where I'm at right now. So that part is not you. Me specifically just expressing, hey, think before you comment. This is just a request that I'm putting out there. It's not to say that you haven't been kind and generous and da-da-da-da-da. It is me trying to preempt the angst that I don't want to experience. So I don't think it's necessarily their power. This is just, you guys just happen to see me explode into the million places that I'm exploding into, even when I'm not sharing anything with you all. This is just genuinely the experience that I'm going through, right? Because like, I have to wrap my mind around I have to wrap my mind around being a successful CEO, right? And a financially successful person. That's a lot. So yeah. No, Miranda, no matter the tears, you are amazing. Thank you. Christina, breathe and relax. Being Ashley Rocks, congratulations on paying off City Girl. You inspire me to do better. Please don't stop. I need to see another Black woman break all socioeconomic barriers as well as stereotypes. I won't stop. Stacy F, they are just jealous of your hard work and success. You're a wonderful person. Thank you. I do think jealousy has a little bit to do with it. I think cognitive dissonance has more to do with it. Yeah. Kim P, I personally want to see you win. Like, you have a lot of debt and have a son that will be going to college this year. Don't feel guilty about the great things that God has in store. Indeed, indeed. Indeed. Dark Knight says, sounds like shame from being successful. Talk to your counselor about the shame or the guilt. Oh yeah, 100%. That's what therapy was about today. That's why I said, like, I knew even before doing this journey, my deepest fear is the fear of success. So I'm 100% clear on that. Like, that's actively what we're working on. Like, that's why I'm saying this bleeding ulcer isn't about you guys. It's the day that when I decided to like transition into like, all right, we gotta increase our income, we gotta go full gusto. Like, that's when I started to move into like some stress, right? But then as it started to happen, that then like got wound up into even more deeper tension and stress. So definitely talking to my therapist about this. Megan Graham said, allow yourself to have this. We helped, breathe and kick more butt. You got it. You got it. So Tasha Betty said, you added the amount your accountant wanted you to add. Yes, I did. Black Butterfly said, Chandelier said, you shouldn't accept an ulcer. You can do this. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely being healed and it's done with after that. Because for me, this is just a super high level of self-sabotage. Like, that's all this is. Like, I'm trying to slow myself down because I haven't accepted and reconciled that that's not what I'm going to do. But today, I've made the decision and I've now articulated it to you all. So this will be no more. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I refuse to. One of the reasons why I work part-time is because I'm wanting to manage the mental, like I was so focused on managing the mental component of this that there was not like there was a complete disregard for physically what could happen, but I wasn't paying as much attention to physically how I was carrying the stress of it because I was so focused on making sure mentally I wasn't clogged in any way. And so now it's just a deeper level. I have to make sure that physically I'm not blocked in any way either. Yeah. Rachel Lynn said, this is why I love following your journey. You go through the emotions of debt and money, and so many others ignore that aspect. You are so wonderful and real, and that is why you're doing well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Lois Young, Stacey, you have motivated me. You helped me to realize that I have been sabotaging myself for 5 decades. Yeah. And it's just like, there's a part of me that, you know, I'm telling you guys, I did not, because I told you guys a couple of days ago that I paid this off. I did not want to come on here because I was like, I'm not going to cry. And that's how I feel right now. Like, they're going to get nothing but tears. It's not going to be a celebration. But today, after therapy, and even as before, when I was just like, I'm deciding to share today, I'm like, no, this is a part of it. Like, the debt-free journey isn't all smiles and just like cheery celebrations. Sometimes it's complete and full emotional release and the realization and the acceptance that like I am afraid to succeed at this, like, and I need to pick my fear. Like, I'm afraid, period, but I need to pick my fear. Are you more afraid of succeeding? Are you more afraid of being that? And I'm telling you guys, that won't happen again. It just won't. So yeah. I'm just trying to see if there are any questions. K Smith, I don't care how much money you make or where it's coming from. You are absolute inspiration. I'm here for the long term. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful Me 7 said, why wouldn't we be happy for you? I'm confused. Yeah, it confuses me too, some of the comments. Like, and it's, I don't think that people aren't happy for me. I think that people demand more because they don't understand. Like, they're like, tell me how you're doing this. And I'm like, I have a company. I sell my products and services. Which products and services? How much? You need to be more transparent about this. And I'm like, no, I don't. That was, I've never shared the breakdown of that, you know? So that, I think it's more so that like the lack of belief and the constant like, you're doing this wrong and this isn't right and you're gonna fail. It's like, listen, I need you to back off for 2 seconds, ma'am or sir. So I think it's just more so that like some people just, they can't wrap their mind around it. They just can't wrap their mind around it. And in them not being able to wrap their mind around it, they write things that are intense. And like, I pride myself on really being in this community and nearly trying to respond to every single comment. And I just realized like, I don't know if I'm going to have the emotional capacity to do that because I'm also leveling up mentally. but I don't know how that's going to change, you know, the community without me actually acknowledging you all and like truly being involved. So I guess that was a little bit of it too, is that like I want to acknowledge you guys and I want to be there, but like checking my temperature for my emotional capacity, I don't have much emotional capacity because I'm facing my own real fear. Like, never mind me trying to understand your perspective. I don't have the capacity to try to understand your perspective because I'm trying to face my real fear. Okay, so it's 45 minutes after. I'm gonna pop out and then pop back on and just